Hi, my name is Emmanuel MONNERON and this is a new video for the series Psychiatry and the Troubled Teen Industry. If you don't know what the troubled teen industry is, you can follow the link in the description of this video to visit the Breaking Code Silence website, where you will find important and useful information about the troubled teen industry. This new video is going to be about the ability to reintegrate society after a troubled teen industry program. It's important to understand that cognition, which means all the mind processes that allow a person to adapt to their environment, is something flexible. You can train these processes to improve your skills, but if you do not get proper stimulation, your ability to adapt to your environment will be impacted. We can distinguish cold cognition, which implies cognitive processing of information that is independent of emotional involvement, and hot cognition, also called social cognition, which is the way people process, store, and apply information about other people and social situations. Being able to understand the intentions of other people, which is a process that neuropsychologists call theory of mind, or being able to recognize emotions on someone else's face, are two examples of social cognition processes. Functioning in society means being able to adapt to very different and sometimes challenging situations. An independent and well-balanced adult is expected to make numerous decisions every day. And to do that, they have to be able to collect information about a situation. They have to anticipate the good and the bad consequences of different possible decisions. And finally, they have to be confident enough to make the final decision and deal with the effects of it in real life. To me, that is exactly what education is about: transmitting the child enough tools and providing them with a stimulating environment to let them freely and safely experiment, which will train their cognitive processes. It's about helping them grow into independent and confident adults. One of the first things that is going to stop a teenager from reintegrating society after a troubled teen industry program is the amount of time spent completely isolated from the outside world. In these programs, communication is strictly controlled, and it's impossible for a resident to stay in touch with family members and friends. While in the program, the residents miss a lot of family and social events, and this is an important factor that will make them feel excluded from their community when they will finally be released. From a more general point of view, being isolated like that for several months or years creates what the survivors call a cultural gap. For example, a lot of testimonies explain that while in the program, the residents were not informed of the attacks that happened on the 11th of September 2001 in New York. This is a very emblematic example, but this cultural gap concerns every area of information you could think of. Can you imagine how strange and disturbing it would be to know nothing about what happened in the world during several months or several years? Can you imagine how much it would affect your ability to have a normal conversation? How would you feel if someone told you what happened on the 11th of September? I don't know what you're talking about at all. Most of the troubled teen industry programs are about rules. Lots of rules. Rules that are not imposed to provide a safe environment, but to completely control and break the teenagers who are sent to these places. In these facilities, the residents are not able to choose anything. Some people might say that they can choose to work the program or not. Well, this is actually not true, because choosing between obeying or being abused, isolated, or restrained is not a choice. You are not free to make a decision when your physical integrity is permanently threatened. During months or sometimes years, these teenagers have absolutely no occasion to make one single decision. Of course, this lack of stimulation damages the cognitive processes I was talking about earlier. When they come out, a lot of former residents of these programs have difficulties to be independent. The rule system is not there anymore to organize each aspect of their lives, and some of them do not know how to make decisions anymore. In their testimonies, some survivors explain that they kept asking their parents for the permission to enter a room or to go to the bathroom for several months or years after the program. Some of them still count down each time they take a shower, because that is something that is usually timed in these facilities. As you can imagine, that lack of daily skills quickly becomes a huge handicap in an adult life. Now let's talk about social cognition. It's important to understand that interactions between people are completely manipulated in the troubled teen industry programs. For example, building friendship is something the residents are not allowed to do. The most common feeling towards other people is actually fear. Fear of being punished by the staff, fear of being denounced by other residents for the tiniest little mistakes, and fear of being punished for not denouncing other residents frequently enough. During some group sessions named attack therapy, the residents are also encouraged to humiliate and insult each other. And there are even more confusing things in these places. The residents are sometimes divided in groups named families, and each family is led by a staff member who is the father or the mother of the family. That kind of vocabulary creates a lot of confusion when it comes to social interactions. The staff member, who can be abusive and usually inspires fear, is also referred to as the parent and represents the person who should be responsible for the children's safety. As normal interactions do not exist in these facilities, the residents' social skills and theory of mind are dramatically damaged during the so-called treatment. A lot of survivors end up with poor self-esteem and social cognitive bias that make them pretty vulnerable in social situations. A pretty concerning amount of survivors find themselves in abusive relationships after the program and suffer from domestic violence. Behavior modifications programs are supposed to mold teenagers into perfectly functioning young adults. Because of a huge lack of stimulation during the programs and manipulative relationships modalities, they actually leave these struggling youth with a lack of social and daily skills, which represents a major handicap for their future adult lives. These programs are not therapeutic. They are useless and dangerous when it comes to help teenagers suffering from mental conditions. For all these reasons and a lot of others, the troubled teen industry has to be properly regulated. Protecting vulnerable children should be a #1 priority. I encourage you to follow Breaking Court Silence on social media and to sign the different petitions you'll find in the description of this video. If you found this video useful and interesting, please feel free to share it on social media. And you can also look at the rest of this series and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Thank you for watching, and there will be more videos soon. Thank you.